The Felons administration and Republican lawmakers will suffer a massive collapse in 30 days. And my very interesting dream about Vladimir Putin. Let's dive into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, to all the new subscribers, thank you. To everybody who comments on the videos, likes the videos, watches the videos, big thank you. To those of you that have donated money to the channel, a huge thank you. It's very humbly received. I have purchased a few new tarot decks already, and I have more on the way. The ones that we voted on, I just decided to purchase all three of this. They're not here yet. I don't know that they'll be here until next week because I ordered them through a local bookstore. I didn't want to use Amazon. I had mixed feelings about that. Are we hurting Jeff Bezos or are we hurting the people that work at Amazon? I don't know. Anyhow, leave your comment on that if you so desire. But supporting local bookstores, I think that is super important because there aren't many of them left in my neck of the woods. Okay, so James Carville, the Democratic strategist for Bill Clinton, ran Bill Clinton's campaign. He's been around for a long time, said that the felons, he didn't call them felon though, the felons administration and Republican lawmakers will suffer a massive collapse in 30 days. I'm not quite as optimistic as Mr. Carville. I think it's going to happen. I don't know about the timing of it. Timing in tarot is really hard. Timing in any sort of, you know, divination practice is really hard. However, I have always seen a new pope when this happens. So I'm certainly not wishing ill on Pope Francis, but he is very sick. My instincts are that if he makes it out of this, it's still not going to be very long. We might even see him retire and go into hospice care, kind of like Benedict did before him. So uh, we'll get into that. We'll do like a 6 month overview of the administration and Republican lawmakers. But let's first talk about Vladimir Putin and do a 6 month overview on Putin. So I had the most vivid images when I was meditating this morning. So I'm recording this on Tuesday morning. It's about 5:30 in the morning. That's normally when I do the readings because the sun's about just right so that it doesn't glare, but enough light. Um, anyhow, so I have a big crystal ball in my meditation space. It's in a kind of a shed, for the lack of a better words, in our backyard. And I light a candle, put it behind it, and I just sit there and I meditate and I gaze. And on good days, I get really good visions. Some days I don't get as clear visions, but this was a very clear vision. So I was asking for kind of images around Russia. What's going on with Russia? What are the Russian citizens thinking? We need to separate Russian citizens from Putin uh, because not all Russian citizens support Putin, just like not all Americans support the felon. So here is what the vision was. There was a very elaborate bed, and Putin was laying on the bed on his back, asleep. No, no blankets, no covers, in pajamas, and surrounding him on the floor were a bunch of snakes slithering around. And on the nightstand, there were a few empty, what looked like pill bottles, like those orange colored, that you get your prescriptions in, and a glass of liquid. I assumed it was water, but it was like really icky looking and like there were things floating in it. And the overall feeling of the scene was that he was without uh, any means to keep himself hidden anymore. He was like completely exposed. I think that's what the images of there not being any covers on the bed was about. So let's look into that. Let's like just do kind of a 6 month overview. I've read on his health before, and I've always felt like there'd be an assassination attempt on him. But let's see if the cards don't uh, maybe spell that out. And then we might throw in some of the new decks that I have back here that I just bought at the bookstore. So I got the Toth deck, and which I had in the past. I couldn't. The one that I have in the past, it's I've had it for 20 some years. It's just really beaten up, so I decided to buy a new one. And then uh, these are just some fun tarot decks. The other ones like the Wizard's Tarot and the Sorcerer's Tarot. So, or Spellcaster's Tarot. Let's see. Let me show us Vladimir Putin. And I'll put timestamps in here if you want to skip Putin and go to the other stuff too. Can you show us Vladimir Putin over the next 6 months? So March 30th. I don't know the significance of this, but I'm seeing like a horse and a pen, and the horse is running around real crazy like it's been spooked. Not sure what that might mean, but maybe the cards might help us figure that out. We get the Queen of Pentacles, some sort of offering being made. And in this particular deck, this is the Before Tarot. It's a snake that's making the offer, which is interesting. Death. And this is April. Now, we'll keep going. I don't necessarily know that this means a physical death, but definitely the end of something. It might be the end of his reign. It could be uh, the end of support from the felon, for example. If the felon departs, that's going to go away. So it could be several things. Yeah. The Seven of Swords in May. So that's about deceit, thievery, um, deception, misleading, trying to get away with things. We get the King of Swords in June. It's consistency, steady leadership. These cards are very on point. We get the Emperor. This is abuse of power, the presidency or the leadership. Really picking up this idea of abuse of power. And then we get the Wheel of Fortune in August. So his fates will turn either for the better or for the worse. We'll have to wait and see what the rest of the cards say. Now, if this were a physical death, this is kind of describing, his beginnings of his afterlife, where it's not, which would not be good. And we get intergenerational relationships, Six of Cups underneath. So let's keep going. Can you clarify these cards? Show us Vladimir Putin over the next 6 months. Uh, I think people are probably wanting him gone. I don't think that's too far of a stretch to believe. How much they're willing to go and try to do it, I think, is a little bit tricky. I mean, he's very quick to have people killed for entertainment purposes only. But I think that's true. Like the generals that died in the plane crash, there's been some people that have mysteriously fallen out of windows in recent times. Just Vladimir Putin, 6 months, please. You've just seen that horse like running around, like just like it's lost. There's pictures of him on horses. I wonder if he has like a horse that's close to him. This card apparently just wants to be seen, so ah, the card for the felon, King of Pentacles, wanted to come out, so we'll just set it there. Okay. So we get the Seven of Pentacles, planting seeds. We get the Chariot, forward movement, sometimes chaotic movement, could be trafficking. I'll let you interpret what that means. Heavy burdens, the end of cycles, the Ten of Wands. Underneath the Seven of Swords, we get the Six of Cups. This is intergenerational uh, relationships, thinking about the next generation. Underneath the Emperor card, we get the Three of Swords. This can be heartache. It could be a heart attack. It could be something to do with the heart. It could just be sorrow. I'm not sure that Vladimir Putin is capable of feeling sorrow. That's a pretty bold statement because I think most people are, but there are select few people that just are not capable of feeling sorrow. I think the felon's another one. So I'm more apt to think that this is a health thing. And we get the Ten of Cups, celebrations, gathering together, reunions, and the start of something new in July. And we get pausing suspension with the Hanged Man underneath. Okay, so I'm just going to put this over here to remind myself that was with that. Okay, show us Vladimir Putin over the next 6 months, please. And that image of the horse running around crazy. I'm curious if that means something to somebody watching. It's yeah, it's disturbing. It's like I think of horses as being gentle kind of creatures and majestic, and this is like more towards the scary side. You wouldn't want to be around it because it's really out of control. Maybe it's kind of like the Knight of Swords. Things will start happening real quickly. Could be a symbol for that, maybe. I don't know. So he has everything he needs with the Nine of Pentacles right now. And this makes sense. We get circles of support and celebration. We get surprising new beginnings in May. We get temperance, so moderation in June. This is starting to come together pretty nicely. Yeah, this month of July is going to be something for Mr. Putin. We get loss, right? The Five of Cups. Usually I think of the Four Swords as the minor arcana death card, but this also could be um, a symbol of that as well. And then we get the truth emerging in August. Underneath, we have fiery messages with the Page of Wands. I think the horse, it just won't leave. I think it's symbolizing the energy of the people around that are well informed in Russia. I think it's symbolizing how they feel. They feel they can't escape because they're the horses in this like corral. The horses spooked and crazy and not sure what to do or how to act. I think it might just be representation for the population of Russia that's informed. Now, there are Russians, just like there are in the United States, that are completely uninformed and, buy into everything that's been said because that's all the media they get, right? But they tend to be older. But the younger generation, they pretty much know what's going on. Okay. No problem with Putin over the next 6 months, please. Okay, the horse is gone, so that must have been what that was about. I'm kind of seeing, I'm getting the images of the riots after the Rodney King trial in Los Angeles, which is interesting. I wonder if there won't be like big uprisings if Putin, like once Putin goes, like this feeling of being free, like when, you know, now it's the images from the 80s when people started smashing down parts of the Berlin Wall. It's kind of like that. New partnerships forming in March. We get the Wheel of Fortune. This imagery is more of like a teeter-totter type energy, standing in the tree pose on top of the wheel, not sure whether you're going to go left or right, fall down or stay balanced. We get the Empress card. This is the card for Russia. It's also the card for the mother or caregiver. We get bombshells and surprises, the Page of Cups. And in this particular image, you don't know which way's up and you don't know which way's down. Like you can't tell. That's the kind of, I think, the way I interpret the imagery here. Things are just really chaotic and coming quickly and surprising. Interesting. We get the full card underneath the Five of Cups, the Three of Swords, and the Emperor in July. So this is a new beginning, letting go, and a free fall. It makes me think something big is going on in June. I mean, July. August, we get the Moon card. Things coming to the surface, things being revealed. This imagery is of a woman under the water, maybe coming to the surface with a story. Underneath, we get the Four of Swords. This is the Minor Arcana Death card. This is the one I usually think of as the Minor Arcana Death card. In this depiction, it's a person resting inside a bird's nest. Show us Putin over the next 6 months, please. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another death card pop up from this deck, but you never know. It feels that's where it's headed. Now they're showing me the devil in the water, the devil tarot card, which is abuse of power, addictions, some disinformation, propaganda. All these things he's been doing might come back to haunt him. And I don't think he's doing himself any favors by cozying up to the felon. Now, in my 2025 predictions, if I remember correctly, I had saw some suicide bombings and some terrorist attacks. I thought the suicide bombings were kind of more in like the Israel Middle East area, and there were some buses that had a, were bombed, but nobody was in them a few days ago. But I saw some sort of terrorist attack on Russia. Kind of, they had that attack at a concert, right? A few years ago, and ISIS took credit for that. I would think cozying up with the felon might just increase the likelihood of something like that happening. We get new beginnings around money, finances, or health. Sometimes pentacles can be health. We get some message coming forward. Here's a black horse, so maybe that's important. Maybe the message coming forward is like this chaotic, crazy health condition that can't be contained. Here's the devil. Okay, that was in the water. Abuse of power, mis and disinformation, having people in bondage, right? People enchained, enslaved. The Four of Pentacles is like the miser card here. Death is coming for the miser. This is the after tarot. The symbolism is supposed to be if you act miserly like, right? That's dangerous. I'm not surprised at all. I could totally feel the death card coming. Not surprised at all that it goes with this month either. And this is the card for inheritance. Okay, let's summarize this. And yeah, I mean, the cards are telling a story today. We have the world underneath. This is the end of a cycle that's when it ends, something new begins, right? The Fool is the start of the tarot, the world is the end of the major arcana. So that month of July, I think, is really significant. But in March, we get some sort of offer coming towards him. It could be in regards to his health. It's being delivered by a snake. Might be kind of like, okay, you've got this wrong with you. Here's a medicine that might help, but it also might not help, right? I think we've all had loved ones that have gone through treatments for various things where the medicine almost seemed like it made them worse. Maybe something along those lines. Planting seeds, something starting anew. He has all the people around him that he needs to as far as medical teams, forming new partnerships. This could be with the felon, and things kind of starting anew with, I think, his health. That's the way I'm interpreting Pentacles here. Okay. And then in April, we get death. I think here it's a scare. I don't think this is the physical death. I think this is a scare, like some sort of health scare. I don't think we'll hear about it though. I think it'll be hidden. And we get forward movement. We get movement to address these issues of his health. He has circles of support around him, but everybody knows it's just a matter of time before the wheel turns. The question is, how does it turn? And here's that message that I think is about his health. That was that horse that I was seeing running around in the corral, just really crazed. It had a bit in its mouth, which is so it was clearly like saddled and ready to be rode, but it was like kind of almost foaming at the mouth, like you know how horses when they get real sweaty. It was kind of like that. So, some big news about his health. So that was April, right? So May we get deceit, deception, trying to get away with things, maybe not wanting to tell the truth, big heavy burdens that are being carried not just by him but by the people around him. Surprising new beginnings, revelations for people around him. We get the Empress card. This is going to be something new for Russia. Russia hasn't known a leader there hasn't been a Russia without Putin in charge for, gosh, I don't even remember when he took over, but it's been a while. And we get misinformation, disinformation, and the devil card. This also could be addictions as well, abuse of power. And then in June, we get things kind of like here the King of Swords is about to be handed the Ace of Swords, which is the truth. So the truth is about to be revealed, and it's going to affect the younger generations, and it's going to bring moderation, and it's going to be very surprising, and it's going to have to do with, this is almost kind of like a card for Putin. I sometimes think of this even as a card for the felon, because it's like the miser that's holding on to his money even though death is approaching, right? You don't have much time left. You don't want to distribute it to people other than yourself. You can't take it with you. So it's like a kind of a toxic money energy. And then this is the big month. This is the month that really tells a story. So we get the emperor, the leader. This could also be abuse of power, but I think in this case it's just the leader having something going on with his heart or some sort of health scare or deep, dark kind of depression around health. And then we get the Five of Cups, which is the card for loss, feeling despair and hopeless. We get the Fool, though, which is a new beginning. So this reminds me, well, I'm just going to say it, and I'm not saying this to get sympathy, but it's just the truth. So I've said this in other videos. My father hung himself when I was 12. Uh, the day that he hung himself that morning was kind of the happiest I think I had seen him. And I think it's because he had made that choice. So I think this is about accepting the fate that death is next. So um, I think the month of June is going to be a big one. And then I think this is about what's going on with Russia after Putin goes. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Things are going to spin. It's a matter of whether they're going to spin, but there's going to be reunions and celebrations. This could also symbolize like the end of the conflict in Ukraine because it just doesn't matter anymore. Now, that might come to an end before this, but not really. I don't think everyone's going to accept it as an end, in particular the Ukrainians. And the truth will come out about what was going on. Things are starting to bubble up to the surface. People are starting to come out of that fog of propaganda and starting to think about the next generation. So, yeah, I think I've always picked up on something happening to him, sin. I could be right, I could be wrong. It is a tarot reading, and I'm right more than I'm wrong. I will say that. And I have felt this for quite a while that this is where Putin was heading. So, um, yeah, interesting cards. So let's move on to talk about the incoming, not the incoming, the administration. So James Carville said that the felons administration and Republican lawmakers would suffer a major uh, collapse, was the word that he used in um, in um, in 30 days. I think that's optimistic. I don't think that's going to happen in 30 days, but that's not what I have seen. Like I said, I've always seen there being a new pope before this happens. And in my predictions in 2025, I didn't know, and I don't know now exactly when that is going to happen. Like I said, I mean, it's pretty clear that Pope Francis is on the edge, but I thought that could even sneak into 2026. Now let's hope that Pope Francis isn't actually needing to be along to make this game work to bring down the administration. But let's hope that it doesn't take a year for things to kind of calm down. So today was kind of a not today, yesterday, had like a real sad feel to it. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. So that would have been Monday. Um, the neighbor across the street from us is a crazy Trump supporter, but his daughter occasionally babysits for us. She's very nice. She's graduating high school this year. Uh, Anyhow, he works for the national park system, and he got fired, and there was no Trump flag for the last few days. So I think these things are starting to kind of come together. Now, I think our particular neighbor is probably, I think his daughter said that he's just going to retire. He's old enough to draw on his pension. So, um, but certainly not a Trump fan anymore after that, or a fan of the felon. I don't think that they had thought, I don't think the felon or Musk had thought through that support is always tenuous for a politician. You know, one misstep can lose support forever. Now you can gain it back occasionally, but something like that where you basically upend someone's life, you know. I think she said he was planning on retiring at the end of the year, but that's still 10 months away. That's 10 months of not getting paychecks that you might have been planning on. So anyhow, but the feeling of yesterday when I was out and about doing errands and running around was just like the day just felt sad. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but um, this morning kind of has a heavy feel to it, but that's hard to say because the sun hasn't really risen yet. So show us the felon and his administration over the next 6 months. Very clear picture of an axe, which I think is just representing fire rings. And I have always thought that Marco Rubio would be the first to go, and I don't have any justification for that. It's just a feeling. It could be right, it could be wrong. I did find it humorous that the I don't remember who reported it, but that Pete Hegseth was mad that people are referring to him as a DUI hire, which I think is hilarious. Shows the felon's administration, his cabinet, the felon himself. They're very burdened. I don't think this is the felon. I don't think he necessarily feels burdens in the same way that most of us feel. Or they're about to be burdened, if you so wish. This is the before tarot. Message coming forward about money, about health, about the economy. And that would be in April. Juggling finances, overseas money, overseas influences, indecision. I guess that's May. Waiting for the ship to come in. Something's inevitable in June. Could also have to do with overseas stuff. There's the ships on the ocean in the background. It's all about the felon in June. This is the same month as Putin's ordeal, if that's right. Then we get the chariot. This card has the weirdest feel, not weird, I'll just say gross feel whenever it's near the felon. And I'll just use the word trafficking. You can put together what that means. That's in August. I don't know why I pulled another card. Apparently, I was supposed to. Uh, the Ten of Swords, complete and utter downfall, destruction, the end of a very dark cycle. The King of Wands underneath. Yeah, I don't know why I pulled another card. I was just so distracted with that card. A couple people have asked in the comments about these things, and I don't know that I'm comfortable reading about them in any more depth than I have already. They're upsetting to everybody. And I think the question I would ask about this is what good would come from reading about it? What good would come from having more information about it? We already know what's happening. Let me know what you think. I mean, I'll think about reading on it if you really want, but I just, I don't know if emotionally I can let myself go there. Okay, so show us the felon's administration, cabinet members, the felon himself, 6 months. Felon administration, cabinet members. I guess the chariot could be the DUI Hegseth reference too. I don't think there is, but I'm just telling myself that to cheer myself up. It's not. Okay. We get the Queen of Pentacles. So action around the economy in March. Now the House is scheduled to try to pass some budget thing, I think tomorrow or later today. And the Senate already passed some budget thing. Now, whether those become laws is a totally different story because they have to agree on each other. We get Five of Cups in April. This is about loss. So we have a message about the economy and loss. This could be a downturn in the economy that affects the way people view the current situation. We get reunions, celebrations, ends of cycles. That's interesting. We get the moon card, and I guess that's June. So waiting for the ship to come in, something inevitable, something under the surface is coming up. Could possibly be surprising as well. We get the sun card underneath the felon in July. Now, I immediately thought explosions when I saw this card. I don't normally think that when I think the sun card, but it does kind of look like an explosion. Something explosive, perhaps, every time. We get the death card underneath the chariot card. Now, that, could be a physical death. It could be the death of a career, too, if this were to actually come to light in an undeniable way, which I hope it does. We get, again, juggling money, indecision, foreign influence underneath with the Two of Pentacles. Okay. Show us the felon and his administration. I feel like this might be celebrations around somebody getting fired. It might be Marco Rubio. It's kind of weird, but Marco Rubio, well, not weird, but when Marco Rubio was appointed to be Secretary of State, I immediately thought this is the felon's way of getting him out of the Senate, and then they're going to fire him, just like they did Jeff Sessions. Although I don't think that was the initial plan with Jeff Sessions, but did get him out of the Senate. Show us the administration, cabinet members, the felon. I mean, these cards definitely point to chaos. We got loss, we got celebration, we have things hidden, we've got explosions, we've got death. There's, they're not like a nice, smooth, continuous story, which is very chaotic. It's how the energy feels. Again, the Ten of Cups, celebrations, reunions. Could be Schadenfreude, right? It could just be that celebration. We get the Knight of Cups, a message coming forward. Circles of support around money coming together. Pentacles can also be health. We get celebrations. We get the Six of Pentacles in July underneath the felon, the sun. Six of Pentacles about repayments of loans and debts, intergenerational wealth, passing things down to the next generation. And then we get the Hierophant in um, August. This can be the courts, this can be the government, this could be the church, it could be the Pope. Um, all of these things are possible. Uh, to me, it feels like government, but new. Like fives are about change, right? And the Hierophant's a five. We get the Queen of Wands underneath, so passion and leadership. That certainly doesn't describe the felon because I don't know. This doesn't feel like he actually cares to leave. Like it's more like he just cares to create chaos. He shows the administrator and the felon and the cabinet over the next 6 months. Seeing the Empress card in the water. It's about Russia. That's what it feels like. I think Russia's the turning point for the public. Not only these firings, which is going on, in my neck of the woods, but probably all over, right? Because there's so many of them. Um, I think those will definitely affect people's opinion on the felon. Musk running things is affecting the opinion. But I think the way he's handling Russia and Ukraine is really rubbing people the wrong way. I don't think he's expecting that to happen, but people know that Russia started the war, right? Him trying to deny that's like kind of silly. So we get again juggling money, indecision, foreign influence, trying to figure out what to do in March. We get the Knight of Cups. So Knight of Cups underneath the Knight of Cups. So apparently some really important message about relationships, perhaps. We get the Two of Wands standing at a crossroads. We get Justice in June. It's kind of like it feels like everything's teetering here. Like one moment they're happy, one moment they're sad, one moment they're together, one moment they're, you know, not together. And that's the way that it feels. With the Queen of Swords, consistency, steadiness. We get the truth emerging in August. The Ace of Swords. We get the Moon card underneath. Things coming to the surface, things hidden, things unknown. Can you show us the felon, the cabinet members in chart popped out. Very disturbing. Can you show us the felon, cabinet members, the administration? Yeah. 6 months, please. I kind of lost my train of thought there with that card. Just wonder if something's not going to about them. I've always thought it would, but I always thought it would be after he's gone, like physically gone, which I guess it could be. We don't know when that's going to happen. Things going quickly, going into battle, chaos, confusion, fighting amongst oneself, the Knight of Swords, deception, thievery, deceit, the Seven of Swords, intergenerational relationships, thinking about the next generation, the Six of Cups, anxiety, sleepless nights, trying to slay the dragons, the image here. Trying to beat back fears, maybe. We get the Fool card, things starting new and fresh. And we get loss and June. Let's recap. I'm just gonna set this here, I guess. Underneath, yeah. Underneath, we get the Magician. This has been my card for Musk for, I don't know, a couple weeks. Dark energy. All right, so in March, we have knowing that they're getting ready to carry really heavy burdens. It's around the economy, and it's going to affect families and celebrations. They're juggling things to try to make it okay, possibly dealing with some foreign influence or dealing with foreign uh, affairs, foreign policy. They're fighting amongst themselves. They're hurting themselves. They're slaying themselves. One of them might actually, in this depiction, right, of the Knight of Cups, the person on the knight knocks over a person who's not on the horse. So they might actually hurt themselves. Like, one of the cabinet members might have a scandal and it takes them down. Messages coming forward about the economy and loss. They know they've done something wrong. This could be the effects of the tariffs. If they go through, it sounds like they're going to. This could be the effects of just the lack of doing anything. I think we have the needing to raise the debt ceiling. You know, it could be some like, they fooled around with that and it created a bunch of market chaos. I posted today in the community post about the cryptocurrency theft, which I had seen in the 2025 predictions and how that's cost a lot of money. We get two Knight of Cups, messages coming forward, generally about relationships. This could be a message coming forward about a new cabinet member if one's let go. And it's about deceit and deception. If somebody gets fired, it's not about what they did, it's about what they know about others. Okay. We get uh, juggling money, foreign policy, things overseas. And this is, let's see, Project May. Uh, again, celebrations, reunions, about families coming together. It could be, the wars coming to a reasonable place, circles of support around the economy. This could be even, Democrats coming to help Republicans save the economy if it starts to teeter too badly. It could be the Fed cutting interest rates, although they're very worried about inflation, so they're more likely to raise them. It's a very pivotal point in the administration. It's a crossroads, and it's about what's up for the next generation. So that is May. In June, something's inevitable. Something's going to happen. Something's inevitable. They already kind of know what it is. We don't, but it'll start to come out. It'll start to come to the surface. Uh, they're going to have circles of support to try to keep it buried, but justice is coming. And so it's going to get revealed. They're going to try to beat it back. They're going to try to slay the dragon. And I want to be very clear that I am not talking about election interference coming to the surface here. It is, while that would be very bad, this I think is worse. Let's just put it that way. Okay. the month of June is all about the felon. He will be the center of attention, although he's kind of the center of attention always. Some explosions, some revelations, full illumination on whatever it is that was hidden from the moon card, possibly about repayments of loans and debts. Could be, for entertainment purposes, blackmail, money coming to light. Uh, it could be revealed by, I don't know, Jeffrey Epstein's partner. She's still in prison. Could, I don't know. I feel like there's a female energy that causes a stir. Could be somebody coming forward that's very steady, very believable, the public relates to. So it's probably not the Epstein lady. I forget how to say her first name. And then things are teetering on a cliff. They're about to start anew. The administration's about to collapse is probably too strong of a word, but definitely not heading in the right direction. It is got mucked up really badly at this point. And then so by the time we get to August, we get this. This could have to do with I did a reading, it was a while ago, about Epstein and the deportations and the relationship that I think's there. Um, and why they were using military aircraft to do that. I I don't know if they still are. It's so hard to keep up with all the craziness. We get death too. That could mean these things come to an end. It could be a physical end for somebody. And it's like there's a new government. That's the feeling of the Hierophant, or a change in leadership. Fives are about change. The Hierophant's the five in the major arcana. Could also be the church, the pope, but I think it's like a change in leadership. I'm going to stick with that. The truth comes out. We feel loss. Some It's the end of a very dark cycle, and it's the downfall of somebody. Now, people can have downfalls after they're, physically not here anymore. Their reputation can take a downfall, so to speak. And I if you look back on the last few readings, the Chariot card pops out all the time. So, okay. So, is James Carville right that the administration will collapse in the next uh, month? I don't think so. I think it's gonna be longer than that. I think maybe by summertime. I think maybe we should ask one more question, and we'll use a different deck about those chariot cards. But I'm going to keep it real vague because that just feels like the safe thing to do. So let's use this. This is a new deck. And thank you to everybody that's given to the channel. I used that money to purchase this deck. So this is the Wizards Tarot. So it's kind of just that's the you show us what this chariot card is about. Why did the chariot card? Be careful how I ask this. Chariot card. Let's just ask it plain and simple. What is this chariot card about? Seeing images of of people in shackles, like on those military planes. I don't know why they had to shackle them. That just seemed really harsh. But think about deportations. But the other thing that really disturbs me is that minors that show up at the border now are no longer offered legal representation. They revoked that. It was kind of an underreported story that kind of makes them susceptible to that chariot card energy that new beginnings, poverty, being left out in the cold, homeless. That's the Five of Pentacles. I'm sorry, Ace of Wands. King of Swords, leadership, the Knight of Swords, things happening quickly, really fast movement, not wanting to be seen, perhaps. The Four of Cups, apathy, people distressed, people knowing, not not able to do anything. In the near term outcome, we get the Ace of Cups, a surprising new beginning. Maybe this does get revealed. This feels exactly the way I thought it would. You get the Page of Wands, fiery messages coming out, shocking details. The Two of Wands, being at a crossroads, needing to make a decision. Are you still on board with this administration or are you not? Or are you on board with the felon or are you not? The hopes and fears. It's a fear. It's the Lovers card in a perverse way. And the outcome, first card's the Nine of Cups. This is wish fulfillment. We get the Hierophant. This is government, the church. Wouldn't surprise me if, a lot of these things go way back into, the 80s and maybe even 70s. It wouldn't surprise me if the church was part of the cover up. And we get the Queen of Cups, steadiness. Underneath, we have the Queen of Swords, isolation with the Hermit card, shedding a light, though. Things move quickly. Repayments of loans and debts with the Six of, and then we get the Queen of Wands, so fiery leadership. And then ultimately we get, it's hard to see the words on this, the Justice card. What's those Chariot cards about? I think the Chariot card's about exactly what I said it was about. I think it's a story that will come to light. Um, all right. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another video soon.